Hello and Happy New Year. Happy 2021. I've been away for a little bit and there's a reason. Um, there's always a reason, of course, right? But mainly it was because I was tired. Uh, um, I was busy with work. It's like, oh my God, like everybody else, right? The end of the year, everyone's scrambling. Everybody's, doing their thing, depending on what your occupation is. Some of us, a lot of us, not just some of us, a lot of us are busier at the end of the year. Um, what else can I tell you? It was, went by pretty fast. Um, and here we are. All right. So, I did give another reason why, I've been away for a little bit was I've been away on like all platforms for a little bit. I gave myself the gift of like distancing myself from social media, which distancing, not exactly cutting myself off because I'm a social media person, um, meaning I've been on social media for whatever is considered social media, or what we define as social media for 2 decades. So, it's kind of hard to just drop out and disappear. Well, no, it's not hard. I fantasize about it, but I'm not going to do it. It was good. It was a good break. Also, what else can I tell you? It was a good break. It's going to continue. 2021 is going to be a year where I'm sorting things out. So I'm going to do a little recap. 2020 was when my birthday rolled around in July. I flipped over to my devil year. And my word of the year that I had selected in 2019 for 2020 was release. And that word seemed to only assert itself in my life after my birthday. So going forward, what I'm going to do for my own personal practice, so to speak, is that my word of the year will also be, will go from birthday to birthday, just like my numerology and tarot card of the year. So I'm in a devil year. And I have to say, with the releasing, I'm not going to retread old ground, but kind of I have to in order to put it into, place it into context. The releasing began with the sudden, overwhelm of the tarot and oracle decks. It was a situation where it was just noisy, and it was noisy with the spoils of my retail therapy and tarot binge and oracle card binge of 2020. My numbing activity, because, well, it was nice to receive stuff in the mail during a pandemic, right? Anyway, you all know what I'm saying. It was quite the process, letting go. And I have let go. I didn't count people because counting just brought on anxiety. But if I were to estimate by just looking at my space, I let go 90% of what was there, 90% of what I had accumulated. And so that was quite a process. And I've brought it up in other videos, and I'm actually going to link to Nancy Rose, her channel, where she discusses as well her process. And it was quite the process, you know what I mean? Because you're not just sitting with stuff that you bought, right? You're sitting with, well, why did I buy it? And in previous videos, I talked about FOMO and fantasy self, and today I brought up numbing and escapism. Oh, I think in previous videos I brought up numbing and escapism. But especially fantasy self. FOMO. There's also that shared, and I think I brought it up in an earlier video. It's a shared experience. When we see someone we admire, when we watch someone we admire, I know I do this all the time. If I'm watching someone that I admire and they have something, I will want that object as a connection to that person that I admire. And that's as old as dirt, that whole wanting to, obtaining an object or whatever as a connection to a person you admire, a person you love, or whatever. Anyway. So there's that. In this process of release of tarot decks and oracle decks, it was then followed by a release of books. So, and the decks, so far I think I have released them all, the ones that I was ready to release, that were time for them to go. So I'm for this front half of the conversation, or the discussion, or my soliloquy, whatever you want to call it, monologue, I'll talk about the release process, and then I'll talk about what's coming afterwards, like what I see is occurring. It was followed by the release of books. And I've been going through my library, and I did a first and then a second wave of call of my books, releasing a lot of books from the 90s, which I was grateful for, because that's when these subjects became really mainstream, and tons of books available on witchcraft and what have you. But they're all Wicca books, and what I practice is not that. So but I was grateful that they were there, because there was content for me to consume. But I'm letting them go. And I have some that I'm hanging on to just because they're sentimental. I have a couple of books that I'm hanging on to because they're beautiful. Everything else is going. So it went to my books, right? So from there, I then started to look at, I had decluttered my curio cabinet and my candles drawer, witchy supplies. And I went through there again, and I decluttered some more, and just the excess, you know what I mean? I've always been someone who, everything I own has to serve a purpose. It has to do something. Either it makes me happy or it has a function. If it has some, and anything that makes me happy and has a function at the same time is perfect. It's something that I'll hang on to forever. So I did that, and that cleared a lot of space too. It cleared a lot of space in my mind, because it's like sometimes I have an overinflated sense of how much stuff I have. I'm strange that way. So, but what it did was it cleared up space in my mind. And by clearing the space in my mind, I was able to see what it is that I enjoy, what I use, what I enjoy. And then I started to turn, and this started to trickle over everything in my life. My kitchen was affected. I went in and I started decluttering my kitchen. And I'm someone who habitually declutters. So the fact that I'm not having a lot to declutter, but I have to say it's interesting, the stuff that accumulated that is being decluttered. um, like I said, I habitually declutter. It's just it's different this time, and I think it's informed by my word of the year release. And yeah, and you know what? I read the comments. I read some snarky comments how people don't believe in this concept of word of the year. If you don't, then just fast forward or whatever, because or don't watch this video, because I think word of the year is something that I've been doing for a long time. And it's fun. It's a way to focus your energy, and also it turns out to be quite foreshadowing. You know what I mean? It's like I chose release at a time where I wasn't really feeling release. It was and yeah, it's like it comes to pass, right? It's like the spirit of that word. Words are magic. I always say this. Words are magic. So here's this word that popped into my head for 2020, and then the magic of this word unfolded. So, like I was saying, it trickled into every aspect. Or slowly, it's trickling into every aspect of my life. This decluttering and releasing. Releasing, mainly it's releasing of things that I've settled for. You know, the consolation prizes. Releasing things that just are, that, you know, whatever. An example would be like, oh my gosh, those of you who craft and whatever, I'm destashing my yarn. And what am I releasing? It's like I'm decluttering. I like to, when I go thrifting, I like to look for vintage yarns. And they usually come in bags, and it's like a mixed bag of stuff. Well, finally, I'm destashing all the losers that, or like the ones that I don't want, they get tossed into the bag. Just keeping the ones that I want to keep for certain projects that I have in mind for them. So, yeah, this is a ramble, folks. Maybe I should have warned you. I'll warn you in the description bar. It trickled. Release has trickled into all aspects of my life. And I am grateful for it. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the gifts of 2020. 2020 has taught me what really matters. I lost some people in 2020. I lost an old friend in 2020. One of the first people, one of the first to succumb to COVID. And so 2020 has taught me what matters. 2020 also taught me discernment. And this is tied to the whole release process. In the process of releasing, and let me go back, because here we talk about tarot decks and oracle decks and stuff like that, right? In the context of releasing decks, I had to sit with the fact that my discernment was shit. You know, I was being controlled by FOMO and fantasy self and hype and all that stuff, and groupthink and you know, that whole scene, right? And also like the exposure, right? It's like, you know, if in my YouTube, you know, people upload their videos, and 10 of the ones that are the new videos are the same deck of the month, flavor of the month, well, then it's also subliminal. Even if I don't watch all 10 videos on that same one deck, after a while, it's just a repetition. It's subliminal. Next thing I know, I'm ordering that deck, and I freaking hate it. All right. So 2020, the whole release process, taught me discernment. I'm not going to go into the vast lessons of 2020. I think we can all reflect on what 2020 has taught us in the pandemic and all that. I just want to stick to the subject of this video and the scope of my channel. But boy, did it teach me discernment, because I had to sit with like all these bad decisions I made, and money spent to numb, to escape, to FOMO, to fantasy self, all that stuff. I had to sit with all that, and what it boils down to was lack of discernment. It's like discernment got thrown out the window. And discernment being thrown out the window is, I think, where most of the suffering comes from, when you're faced with, oh my God, all this stuff. Now, if you're out there and you're watching videos like mine and Nancy Rose's, and you're feeling the pressure, you have amassed tons of decks for the same, in the same way. I said this before, I'm going to say it again. You didn't amass them all overnight, and even if you did, you're not going to be able to get rid of them all overnight. There's many things at play. There's having to sit with them and decide if you want to keep them or not. There's the whole, if you're even wanting to go there, sitting with the thoughts and emotions wrapped up into whether it was FOMO, fantasy self, whether you succumb to hype, the hype machine and all this stuff. Remember, too, that a lot of the content that we consume, and lots of people are getting their stuff for free. You know what I mean? So if you're watching any kind of niche video where you're watching unboxings and stuff like that, a lot of these channels do receive decks for free to show on their channel, and there's no way mere mortals can keep up. It's just the way it is. But if you have kept up, and now you're thinking, oh my God, what I'm going to do, I have a couple of suggestions for you. One is to just box it all up and put it away. I'm telling you, if you're not in the mental state right now to deal with it, box it all up and put it away. Actually, shop your stash, shop your stash, pick out the ones that you love, the ones you use all the time, the ones you trust, box everything up, put it at the back of a closet, leave it alone. You don't need to be going through this, because this was harsh, my friends. I got to tell you something, like going through this whole process, because it's more than just the things. Discernment. Now, where am I at? Now I'm at a place where I'm looking at what's left, and whether it's decks, books, witchcraft supplies, the things that are left on my altar. And I can clearly see who I am. Now my external is starting to reflect more who I am internally, which is why we have things. This is why people have stuff. Our stuff is a reflection of who we are on the inside. And because I'm able to see, and I'll just stick to the decks right now. I'm able to see the decks I kept. And of all the decks, I get this question a lot, and I'm going to answer it. Do I regret any of the decks I let go? I regretted one, maybe two, and both of them actually came back. They had been rehomed, and then the person had, they ended up coming back to me. Both of them were inexpensive. I could have easily have and readily available, mass market. I could have easily replaced them. But everything else that I let go, no, not one. The really bizarre part is that once I put them in a box to let them go, I don't even remember what they are anymore. So, and I think I mentioned this in a previous video. And if they come up, if someone's doing a collection video or something like that, and I see a deck, it's like someone I used to know. I see the deck and it's like totally detached. It's like, oh, yeah, like an acquaintance. Oh, I used to work with that person. Oh, yeah, I used to know that person. They were all right. That's literally what it feels like. So if you're afraid to let go of things because you're afraid you're going to regret it, for the most part, I think what I'm describing, I think would be true for most people, that you're not going to remember what you released. Like it won't be top of mind, and then when you do see it in a video or on a shelf at a store or someone else has it, it'll be, oh yeah, I used to have that one. We either didn't get along, I never used it, that kind of thing. I used to know them. They were all right. Anyway. So that's what I could tell you all about that. And going forward now, I'm going to start releasing even this subject, because it's now I'm moving forward from it. Having released a bunch of things, I'm able to see what I like. What I'm left with, honestly, is mainly decks that I've had for forever. So it's like, it's interesting. What I'm left with is most of my classics, most of my tried and true, and some really new ones that are what's interesting to me is that the new ones that I brought into my life actually make sense based on what my likes are, and the old ones I kept. So where do I go from here? I did release I released an outrageous amount of stuff, and for me it was outrageous. But I also made room for some new things, because I'm not here to say, oh well, I'm never gonna be a one deck person again. Those days are gone. I know, I never say never, because then fate proves me wrong, right? But for the foreseeable future, I can't imagine myself going down to one tarot deck and one oracle deck. It's not. I've always had a minimum of 4 oracle decks for as long as I can remember, and then I had 2 tarot decks for the longest time. So I'm never going to get there. But I would like to get back to a place where if something doesn't work for me, I could just release it. Just let it go. Instead of getting all tied up in the, oh, it's out of print. Oh, it's hard to find. Oh, everybody loves it. What's wrong with me that I don't love it? No. I want to get back to the person I was who, oh no, this doesn't work for me, and get rid of it. All right, so that's it. 25 minutes, a little ramble on where I'm at with the whole release and discernment. So let me share with you, and I will. I got some comments in previous videos, and I did get some private messages, people asking me. I will do one of those. I will do those charming videos that I love watching, of collection video, like what's left. So when I do have time, and I have some decks that are out in the ether on their, they're on their way to me, but I haven't received them yet. When I receive them, then I'll record my tarot and oracle deck videos for you to see what it looks like, what I'm left with. Also for me to, actually it's more for me to then be able to revisit, let's say next year, to see, well, what happened in 2021. Because 2021 I've decided is a depth year, but it's not, for me a depth year is not boiled down to or simplified to a no buy year or a low buy year. It has nothing to do with that. For me, my depth year is about discernment and thinking before I act, thinking before I purchase, thinking, will this thing serve me, no matter what it is? How will this thing serve me? How do I have something that already fills this role? And it's gonna also, and again, discernment is something that I'm going to apply also to other aspects of my life as well. So I just want to share with you a deck that I just received today. This is a gift from someone who loves me, who I love very much. And it's a tarot deck, and it's independently produced by Italian creators. I'm guessing there's 2 creators. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Yeah. So it's, oh my God, people. The vision is just not there. Anyway, let me show it to you. The deck is called Diramazioni Tarot. Diramazioni means branches and also means ramifications. So right there, love the name they chose for their tarot deck. The creators are Voci con Esse and Trifar, I think is the other name. Or yeah, I'm sorry if I butchered that, but oh my God, the font people. I can't see it. The deck comes with corners, like square corners, like sharp corners, which, because I have the meaty paws, I'm gonna round them. And my friend had already edged them beautifully. Look at that. Oh my goodness. So this is, it's not in order. I didn't place it in order. And it's not like, if you want a complete flip through, I think Nancy Rose does a complete flip through of her copy of this deck. Again, her channel will be linked below. These are what the backs look like. Usually, I'm not a fan of the name of the deck on the back, but I find that the name of the deck blends right into the artwork, so it doesn't bother me. This, my best way to describe this deck, I'm very fortunate and very blessed that my friend sent this to me as a gift, and thank you, I really love it. For me, it's a Samhain themed deck. It's very much that energy. It's it's what I wanted the stretch tarot to be, but the stretch tarot just was too busy for me. The imagery was just too busy for how dark it was, and it kind of made me a little nauseated when I would look at it. So I passed that one along. I think I sold the stretch tarot. So this has the same color palette, the same somber color palette as the stretch tarot, but the imagery, what the imagery reminds me of is Pagan Otherworlds at Samhain. That's the, Pagan Otherworlds, but, a little more modern. So, because this guy's wearing a derby hat, right? But it has collage, as you can see, like these random sickles, just sprinkled on the card. But I decluttered all my I decluttered my Halloween tarot. I decluttered all those other decks that were that that I wanted them, stretch, and all the ones that I wanted them to have that Samhain kind of October, November vibe to them, right? That underworld vibe to them, Okay, Halloween Tarot doesn't have the underworld vibe. But you know what I'm saying. The Samhain theme deck, the Halloween theme deck, the Gothic type decks. I rehomed them all. I rehomed them all. With the exception of Raven's Prophecy, because I don't see that one as a Samhain themed deck, even though it's got the orange borders. I see that as a completely different thing. And so this is it. So Discernment, people. See, I probably moved along 10 decks to replace it with this one that I got as a gift. And I'm very grateful for it. So, like I said, I'm not going to do a flip through. It's the major arcana is very beautiful, and this is the Chariot. It's very beautiful, and there's quite. This is the Hermit. This is the Moon. Has a very it's like Gothic silent movie kind of vibe to it. Just Temperance. Major arcana is stunning, and the minors are very they're very in line with Rider-Waite-Smith, which to me it doesn't bother me. I don't mind it at all. For me, it I do love it. Start. So that was Diramazioni Tarot by Voci Conesse, and I think it's Trafar, the other name. Yeah, looks like it might be Trafar. This is the first edition, 2020. It's very, very, very beautiful. And it's a tuxedo, tuck box. And my friend edged it with black Sharpie, and it's rubbing off on my fingers. Don't care, still love it. Okay. Last thing I'm going to share with you is some books I got for Christmas. One of them was from the same friend. She got me the Astro Moon Diary because there was no way of me getting it here in Canada. And this is the Eastern Time Zone edition, see, because they come with different time zones. And again, don't care. I know I live in the Pacific Northwest, doesn't matter. I'm from the Eastern Time Zone, so I can adapt. The size is adorable. Okay, it's I don't even know what to describe it. Okay, this is a standard tarot deck size. Look how cute this is. So it's a cute size. It's got some really nice artwork in it. And this is what it looks like. So although I use a journal, like I use a diary for like one of those traveler's notebooks type of setups, but it's the large one. It's from Amazon. I can't remember what the brand name is. It's got a compass embossed on the leather as my day planner. I really wanted an astro moon kind of thing, and this really was just perfect, so thank you. The next one that I got is, this was a Christmas present, is the Witch's Almanac. I used to buy these every year, like 20 years ago, and like when I think they were gone when I was starting out. Like there's a whole block of time where they didn't have them. And then they came back in the 90s because, Wicca and everything was mainstream, and this 50th anniversary one is just gorgeous. It's a compilation of the entries. Look at this. I'll show you. From 1971, so all through the 70s, and then it starts up again in 1991. So I guess the 80s. There was a 10-year. I guess there was a 10-year block of time where these weren't being published. The Witch's Almanac is still my favorite, and this is 1971 to 2021, and it's the 50th anniversary edition. And yeah, so I absolutely love it. If you're someone who used to collect them and you fell behind in your collection, or like me, you used to collect them and then whatever, you moved and you needed to declutter or whatever the story is, I'm happy I got this because now I have it all. It's not the whole thing, like don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like there's not 40 years worth of content in here, but what I'm trying to say is that it's a really nice keepsake, and it does capture how the times change, or how the times have changed. Oh my gosh. The last book I wanted to share with you is 5-6 years old by now. Let me see. But I never got it. Oh, wait. Well, mine is a 5th printing. But what's the copyright? I'm pretty sure that this is not... Oh my goodness. I can't even, people. I'm pretty sure this book is like 5 years old. But mine is a current printing. Anyway, let me just show you what it is. Those of you who know. The Great Work. I didn't go looking for like videos to hear what other people had to say about it. I was attracted by the beautiful cover. I was attracted by the premise, and I wanted to get something without having, without prejudice, right? Without getting into it biased already by someone else's opinion. And I'm pretty happy I got it. It's Tiffany Lazich is the author. The title of the book is The Great Work: Self-Knowledge and Healing Through the Wheel of the Year. And on the back it says, fusing ancient Western spirituality, energy work, and psychology, The Great Work is a practical guide to personal transformation season by season. Learn to be truly holistic by incorporating key physical, emotional, and energetic practices into your life at times when the natural tides are in harmony with your process. So, yeah. So I'll be delving into this thing. I didn't start it yet, and so I'm probably going to jump in February to, although it's still early in January, but I don't know how much time I have. So, well, I know how much time I don't have, so I don't know if I'll be able to jump in January, but for sure I'll be jumping in February. So I thought I'd share a few things with you. So some were gifts, some were purchased by me as a gift to myself, and that's pretty much it for this video that's almost 40 minutes long already. So that's it. I'm going to, like I said, I will make good on my collection videos to show you what's left and what I have. Also to document it, so I could look back on it next year. And I'll do that, but I want to wait for. I'm waiting for some decks that are on their way to me in trade and gifts. Purchases by me and gifts, no trades. That's it. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sorry, a little rambly, a little distracted. It's been a while. I've been away from been away from the camera a little bit, so I wasn't quite sure. I also wasn't quite sure what I was going to talk about today. I just knew I had a lot of stuff on my mind that I wanted to share. I'm going to be a little more organized maybe next time, but it was just, I thought it would be nice to visit with you, and wherever you are in the world, wishing you all a beautiful day. Bye.